Hi, I'm Anthony Radzanowski, and this is a transitional vehicle called the Little Giant. It's made by the Chicago Pneumatic Tool Company, and it transitions the point where men had wagons and horses, and this is one of the first vehicles to have a gasoline engine in a truck form on the road. So a lot of the technology comes from wagon building. So I'm going to show you some of the things they did.
And the gas is on, and here we go.
It's that easy. So the wagon builder of the day used to build the wagon, and then he would build yokes for the front and have the horse team pull the wagon frame, and then your wagoneer, your wagon builder, would build whatever you needed on the back of your wagon, whether it was to haul tomatoes or haul ice, caskets or casks of oil or water. The wagoneer would build that for you. This particular model is made by the Chicago Pneumatic Tool Company, who started making commercial trucks in 1911 with a Model C. This here is a Model H, and it was started production in 1914 and went through 1917. This 1916 Model H was built up for the city of Newark originally, and it was at a time when Newark had no domestic water supply, so the fire department had to bring their own water. They had just lost the old Railroad Hotel in 1915, and the community was encouraged to purchase a fire engine that could provide protection for the community. So the Little Giant was purchased, and the American LaFrance tanks were put on, and it went into service until the domestic water service in Newark was installed, and they purchased what we call a conventional fire engine today. It was then sold to Russell City and became their main fire protection until 1930, when it was purchased by the Lorenzo family. Some of the interesting accessories on this fire engine are the oil lamps. You would fill this bottom up with kerosene and then open up the back door and light the wick and do the same thing on the other side, and you're on your way. It also had a warning device. It's actually a fight bell. This is a 1914 Chicago Pneumatic Tool Company Little Giant fire engine, Model H. It was built on a commercial car chassis in 1916 for the Newark Fire Department. The controls of the Little Giant are fairly simple. The gas is operated with a hand throttle that is in the center of the steering wheel, along with a spark advance and retarding switch that operates the position of the magneto as it fires the points off. There's a magneto switch that grounds the magneto that kills the motor, so we can shut it off while it's running. Working down, we have a standard 3-speed shifter, 3 forward and 1 reverse. It has a hand brake that operates the sprocket wheel brake and a foot brake that operates a jack axle brake. Both of those are outside caliper brakes because at this period in time they didn't have the shoe brake that pushed out on the shoes. Standard foot accelerator in the front and a 39-foot turning radius. Working our way down, this is a Garland exhaust ventilator for the engine compartment, so no hot air gets trapped up in the top of the buckboard. The vehicle is a transitional vehicle coming from a horse-drawn period of time into a period of time where they were introducing the gasoline engine on the frame. Here is the big difference. They used a jack axle, which is an axle that has a sprocket on it that drives the rear wheels that we can see are wood spoke with a large 21-inch sprocket attached to the wagon wheel. So as the firemen rolled up to the scene, the house fire would be burning and they had to bring their own water. So when they got on scene, these 2 tanks would be full of water and they would add an acid solution up on the top of the tank, and then they would pour a measure of baking soda inside of the tank, and that would create a chemical reaction. Then they would rock the tanks back and forth and mix up the acid and the soda together and watch the pressure on the gauge increase. When that pressure increases, they would open these valves and the firemen would take this nozzle off of the hose reel and into the fire and open it up with the pressure created by the soda acid tank. Not only are there 2 35-gallon tanks in the front for soda acid chemical reaction, but there's also 2 45-gallon tanks in the back. These 2 rear tanks are 45 gallons each, and instead of rocking them, you would rotate them with the handles provided and watch the pressure increase on the gauges in the back. Up here in the fire department end of it, this is a lantern holder. You would put your kerosene lantern, hook it here, and then these hold the base of the lantern in. You'll see that there's a lot of running board space. That's because it's made to hold on to and roll to the fire. At some point there were up to 15 people on this rig to go to a fire. We have the tanks, but we also have enough room under here to put our supply hoses and some tools. Over here on this side of the Little Giant, we have the ladder bracket for all of our wooden ladders that we're going to carry. And again, there's more running board space for the firemen to stand on and get to the fire. There's also mountings for pike poles and some axes up here in the front. So on the cross piece, we have our fire axe in the middle, and we have an additional acid container on the running board next to the driver. So after 100 years, the Little Giant still runs. A transition in technology from horse-drawn wagon to gasoline-powered engine. I'd like to thank the Lorenzo family for keeping custodial care of this wonderful piece of American fire apparatus history.